The ocean has a way of swallowing secrets. Standing on my modest balcony overlooking the gray-blue expanse of the East Sea, I watched the waves crash against the rocks below and thought about how far I'd run, and whether it had been far enough. 2 years. 730 days since I'd packed 2 suitcases, grabbed my sleeping sons, and disappeared from the gilded cage that had been my marriage. 730 days since I'd last seen Kong Leon's face. Beautiful, terrible, suffocating in its intensity. Appa. Appa, look what I made. I turned from the railing as Jihun, my eldest twin by 3 minutes, burst through the sliding glass door. His dark hair was perpetually messy, falling into eyes that gleamed with the same intelligence that sometimes frightened me. In his small hands, he held what appeared to be a functioning miniature drone, cobbled together from spare electronics and sheer brilliance. See? I programmed it to follow voice commands in 4 languages. Want to hear? He didn't wait for my answer, his enthusiasm bubbling over. Avanti. Forward. The tiny drone obeyed each command perfectly, zipping through the air with impressive precision. That's incredible, sweetheart. I knelt down, examining his creation with genuine wonder. At 6 years old, Jihun had already surpassed what most engineers could accomplish. Did you use the Arduino kit I bought you? That was too basic, Appa. I modified the circuit board completely. Jiho helped me write the code. He beamed with pride. We're going to make a bigger one that can carry things. Maybe groceries? So you don't have to walk so far to the market. My heart clenched. Even in their brilliance, my sons were thoughtful, always trying to make my life easier. They knew we lived differently now. No staff, no drivers, no endless luxury. Just us in this small coastal cottage, surviving on the money I'd saved in my freelance translation work. Where is your brother? I asked, standing and brushing off my worn jeans, such a far cry from the designer clothes that had once filled my closet. Inside, still debugging the recognition algorithm. He's being perfectionist again. Jihun rolled his eyes with the exasperation only a sibling could muster. I followed him back into our cottage, the space warm and lived in, cluttered with books in multiple languages, computer parts, and the twins' endless projects. Jiho sat cross-legged on the floor, his tablet propped on his knees, fingers flying across the screen. Where Jihun was energy and enthusiasm, Jiho was contemplation and precision. 2 halves of the same brilliant whole. Jihoya, take a break. You've been working for 3 hours. Almost done, Appa? He murmured without looking up. There's a bug in the facial recognition subroutine. If I don't fix it, the drone might follow strangers instead of us. I settled onto the couch, watching my sons, my entire world, and tried not to think about what we'd left behind. Tried not to remember the penthouse that had overlooked all of Seoul, the fleet of cars, the private jet. The man who had given me everything except the one thing I needed most. Freedom to breathe. Kong Leon. Even his name still made my pulse quicken with a complicated mixture of longing and fear. We'd met when I was 23, fresh from university, working as an interpreter at a business conference. He'd been 30, already a self-made billionaire, his tech company revolutionizing artificial intelligence in Asia. When he'd looked at me across that conference room, it had felt like being caught in a spotlight, terrifying and exhilarating at once. The courtship had been a whirlwind. Leon didn't do anything halfway. Flowers delivered every day. Private concerts. Weekend trips to Paris, Tokyo, New York. He'd been attentive, passionate, overwhelming. As an Omega, I'd been taught to be wary of alpha intensity, but Leon had seemed different. Controlled. Successful. Sick. I'd been so naive. The marriage had been beautiful at first. I'd moved into his world of luxury, attended galas dripping in diamonds, smiled for cameras as Seoul's most envied couple. When I'd gotten pregnant with the twins, Leon had been ecstatic. He'd arranged the best doctors, the most luxurious private hospital suite. Nothing had been too much for his family. But somewhere between the wedding and the twins' birth, Leon's love had twisted into something darker. Possessiveness became control. Attention became surveillance. He'd needed to know where I was every moment, who I spoke to, what I did. Security guards had become wardens. The penthouse had become a prison. And then there had been the night I'd found him in his study with her. Yoon Sarah, his business partner, draped across his desk in a way that had shattered something fundamental inside me. He'd sworn nothing had happened, that I'd misunderstood, that she'd been drunk and he'd been trying to help her. But the damage had been done. Trust, once broken, was nearly impossible to rebuild, especially when Leon's response had been to become even more possessive, even more controlling, as if he could force me to forget what I'd seen. I'd endured it for 4 more years. For the twins, I told myself. But really it had been fear. Fear of Leon's power, of what he might do if I tried to leave. Fear of losing my sons to a custody battle I couldn't win against a billionaire with unlimited resources. Until the night Leon had grabbed my arm during an argument, his grip bruising, his eyes wild with jealousy over a conversation I'd had with a waiter at a charity event. I'd seen the twins watching from the doorway, Jihun's eyes wide with fear, Jiho's small hands clenched into fists. That had been enough. I'd planned my escape meticulously, using skills Leon had never known I possessed. Within a week, we'd vanished. Appa, you're doing that thing again. I blinked, finding both twins staring at me with identical expressions of concern. They were too perceptive, too intelligent not to notice when I drifted into dark memories. What thing? I asked, forcing brightness into my voice. The sad-face thing, Jihun said matter-of-factly. When you think about before. About soul, Jiho added quietly. About father. We never talked about Leon. I told them their father was away on business, that we'd had to move for Appa's work. They'd been 4 when we'd left, old enough to remember the luxury but young enough that their memories were becoming hazy. Sometimes I caught them talking to each other in rapid Korean, English, Mandarin, speculating about the life we'd left behind. But they never pushed me for answers. I'm fine, I assured them, pulling both boys close. They smelled like electronics and the lavender soap we used, and my heart ached with fierce protectiveness. Just thinking about what to make for dinner. Spaghetti. Jihun shouted. Curry, Jiho countered. How about spaghetti with curry sauce? I suggested, making them both laugh. As they debated the feasibility of fusion cuisine with the same seriousness they applied to robotics, I stood and moved to the kitchen. Our cottage was small but comfortable, perched on a cliff overlooking the sea. The village nearby was populated mostly by fishermen and retirees, people who minded their own business and didn't ask questions about the single Omega and his genius sons. I thought we were safe here, hidden away from Leon's vast network and resources. I'd been careful, no social media, using my grandmother's maiden name, paying for everything in cash. But as I chopped vegetables for dinner, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had been growing for the past week. The sense of being watched. The black car I'd noticed parked down the road several times. The stranger in expensive clothes who'd been asking questions at the village market. I told myself I was being paranoid. That Leon couldn't possibly find us. That even if he did, 2 years was enough time for his obsession to have cooled. I was wrong on all counts. The knock came just as the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. 3 sharp raps that somehow sounded different from the postman's usual friendly tap or the neighbor's casual knock. Stay here, I told the twins, my instincts screaming danger. Through the peephole I saw him. And my world tilted on its axis. Leon looked different. Thinner, with shadows under his eyes that hadn't been there before. His suit was still impeccably tailored, probably cost more than 3 months of my rent, but it hung slightly loose on his frame. His dark hair was longer, touching his collar. But his eyes, those intense, burning eyes, were exactly as I remembered. My hand trembled on the doorknob. Every instinct screamed to not open it, to grab the twins and run. But where would we go? And some traitorous part of my heart, the part that had loved him desperately once, wanted to see him. Needed to know if the past 2 years had changed him. I opened the door. Mincio. My name on his lips was prayer and curse at once. His scent hit me immediately, cedar and smoke, alpha pheromones that made my Omega biology respond despite my fear. I found you. How? My voice came out steadier than I felt. Does it matter? He took a step forward and I instinctively stepped back. Pain flashed across his face. I've been searching for 731 days. Did you think I would stop? Did you think I could breathe knowing you and our sons were somewhere in the world without me? You can't be here. I kept my body blocking the doorway, preventing him from seeing inside. You have no right. They're my sons too. His voice cracked slightly. I have every right. Mincio, please. I just want to see them. To talk. I'm not here to take them from you. Your word means nothing to me anymore. The words landed like a slap. Leon flinched and I saw him struggle for control. The old Leon would have pushed past me, would have demanded entry, would have used his size and power to overwhelm my resistance. But this Leon stayed on the threshold, hands clenched at his sides, visibly fighting his instincts. I know, he said finally. I know I destroyed your trust. I know I hurt you. But Mincio, please. 5 minutes. Let me see them for 5 minutes, and if they don't want to see me, I'll leave. You'll leave? I couldn't keep the skepticism from my voice. You'll just go away? No. His honesty was surprising. I'll never go away. Not again. But I won't force this. Not with them. His eyes bore into mine. I've spent 2 years understanding what I did wrong. What I destroyed. I'm not the same man you ran from. Appa? Who is it? Jihun's voice from behind me. I told them to stay inside, but of course they were too curious, too brave for their own good. I turned to see both twins approaching, Jiho slightly behind his brother as always, both their faces alight with intelligent curiosity. And then they saw him. I watched my sons' faces transform as memory clicked into place. Jihun's eyes went wide. Jiho's mouth formed a small O of recognition. Father? Jihun whispered. Leon's composure shattered. I saw tears, actual tears, slide down his face as he dropped to his knees on the threshold, bringing himself to their level. His voice broke completely when he spoke. My sons, my beautiful, brilliant sons. Look how much you've grown. The moment stretched like pulled taffy, taut and fragile. I stood frozen between my past and present, watching Leon kneel before the twins with an expression of such raw emotion that it physically hurt to witness. This was not the controlled, commanding alpha I'd fled from. This was a broken man confronting what he'd lost. Jihun, ever the braver of the two, took a tentative step forward. His small hand reached out, then dropped, uncertainty flickering across his features. You're really here? I'm here, Leon confirmed, his voice thick. I've been looking for you for so long. Why? The question came from Jiho, who had moved to stand beside his brother, their hands finding each other instinctively. Why didn't you come before? The accusation in that innocent question made Leon close his eyes. When he opened them again, they were swimming with regret. Because I didn't know where you were. Because your appa took you somewhere I couldn't find you. Both boys turned to look at me and I felt the weight of their judgment. They were 6, but they understood far more than children their age should. I could see them processing, calculating, trying to reconcile the fragments of memory they held with the man kneeling before them. Perhaps, I said carefully, my hand gripping the doorframe for support, this conversation should happen inside. The whole village doesn't need to witness this. Leon's eyes snapped to mine, hope and hunger warring in their depths. I wanted to take the invitation back immediately, but it was too late. And perhaps it was inevitable. He'd found us. Running again would only delay this confrontation. I stepped aside and Leon rose gracefully to his feet, moving past me with careful deliberation, as though afraid any sudden movement might make me bolt. His scent filled the small space of our cottage, overwhelming the familiar smells of home with something wild and potent. My omega biology reacted traitorously, a flush of heat spreading through my body that I desperately tried to suppress. The twins retreated to the couch, sitting close together, watching Leon with identical expressions of wary fascination. Leon, for his part, took in our modest surroundings with barely concealed emotion. His gaze lingered on the scattered electronics, the language learning books and 5 different scripts, the small kitchen where dinner was half prepared. You've been living like this? He didn't bother to hide the horror in his voice. Mincio, I gave you access to accounts you could monitor and freeze at any moment. I cut him off sharply. I wanted nothing from you. These are my sons. His alpha instincts were rising, that familiar possessive edge entering his voice. They should have everything. They have everything they need. I crossed my arms, fighting to maintain control of the situation even as my heart hammered against my ribs. Love, safety, freedom. Things money can't buy. Appa. Jihun's voice cut through the rising tension. Father. Please don't fight. The simple plea deflated us both. Leon's shoulders dropped and I unclenched my fists, taking a deliberate breath. We both moved to sit, Leon choosing the armchair opposite the couch where the twins huddled, while I remained standing, ready to intervene to protect if necessary. You've grown so much, Leon said softly, his eyes drinking in every detail of his sons' faces. Tell me, what have you been learning? What do you like to do? Jihun glanced at me for permission. At my small nod, he launched into an explanation of his robotics projects, his enthusiasm gradually overcoming his wariness. Jiho added technical details in his quieter way, the two of them tag-teaming the conversation as they always did. I watched Leon listen, truly listen, to them. He asked intelligent questions, praised their innovations without the condescension adults often showed gifted children. And I saw the moment Jihun's resistance began to crack, when Leon mentioned that his company had recently developed a new microprocessor that might be perfect for the twins' projects. You could send us the specs? Jihun asked eagerly. Better. Leon's smile was tentative. I could bring you some. Maybe I could visit again? Help you with your projects. That would be, Jihun started, but Jiho cut him off. Why should we trust you? The younger twin's voice was hard, his eyes, so like Leon's own, filled with protective fury. You made Appa cry. We heard you fighting. We saw Appa scared. The room fell into heavy silence. Leon's face went pale, then flushed with shame. He looked at me and I saw the question in his eyes. How much did they know? I gave a slight shake of my head. They knew we'd left because of problems between their parents, but I'd never detailed Leon's possessiveness, his controlling behavior, or the incident with Sarah. You're right not to trust me, Leon said finally, addressing Jiho directly. I hurt your appa. I made mistakes, terrible mistakes. I let my love become something ugly and suffocating. And I'm sorry. Not just to your appa but to both of you. You deserved better. You deserved a father who showed you what healthy love looks like. Do you still love appa? Jihun asked bluntly. More than breathing. The answer came without hesitation. Every moment of every day for the past 2 years I've thought about him. About all of you. About how I destroyed the most precious thing in my life. Then why did you hurt him? Jiho's voice broke slightly. If you love someone you protect them. You make them happy. That's what appa teaches us. Leon's composure cracked completely. He covered his face with his hands, shoulders shaking. When he looked up again, tears streaked his face unashamedly. Because I was broken inside and didn't know it. Because I confused possession with love, control with care. Because I was so afraid of losing you all that I held on too tight and drove you away. He drew a shuddering breath. But I've spent 2 years in therapy working on myself. Understanding what I did wrong. Learning what real love should look like. This surprised me. Leon in therapy? The man who'd believed his alpha instincts were infallible, who'd scoffed at the idea that he needed to examine his behavior. It's true, he said, catching my skeptical expression. After you left, I fell apart, Mincio. Completely. Taeyong found me 3 days later, hadn't eaten, hadn't slept. The company was suffering because I couldn't function. He gave me an ultimatum, get help or he'd force me to step down as CEO. Taeyong. Leon's best friend and business partner. We'd been close once before everything had fallen apart. He'd been one of the few people who'd ever stood up to Leon, who'd called out his toxic behavior. If Taeyong had intervened. Show them, Leon said suddenly, pulling out his phone. I know you don't believe me. Why should you? But I've documented everything. My therapy sessions, the books I've read, the support groups I joined. It's all here. He offered the phone to the twins. Jihun took it hesitantly, and both boys crowded around the screen, scrolling through what appeared to be a meticulously organized journal. Photos of Leon at various therapy sessions. Notes from books on healthy relationships, possessive behavior, controlling tendencies. Videos of him at alpha support groups, discussing his failures. I moved closer despite myself, reading over their shoulders. The entries were raw, painfully honest. Leon dissecting his own behavior with brutal self-awareness. Acknowledging his mistakes, his fears, his toxic patterns. Day 147. Realized today that I never asked Mincio what he wanted. I assumed. I decided. I controlled. Because if I controlled everything, nothing could hurt him. Nothing could take him from me. Didn't see that I was the thing hurting him. Day 289. Dr. Kim asked me what I was most afraid of. I said losing Mincio and the twins. She asked what I'd already lost. Everything. I lost everything because I was too broken to see I was destroying it. Day 512. Taeyong showed me old footage from our wedding. The way Mincio smiled at me then. I don't think he's smiled at me like that in years. I killed that smile. I killed his joy. And I hate myself for it. The entries went on and on, hundreds of them. A chronicle of self-examination and change. He's really sad, Jihun whispered to his brother. Look, this entry says he gave away all of Appa's clothes because it hurt too much to see them. But did he change? Jiho countered skeptically. Or is he just sad he got caught? A fair question, Leon said quietly. And one I can only answer through actions, not words. I can't prove I've changed in a single conversation. I can only ask for the chance to show you. All of you. No. The word burst from me before I could stop it. Leon, you can't come back into our lives and expect everything to. I expect nothing, he interrupted, standing to face me. Up close, I could see the changes in him more clearly. The weight loss. The exhaustion etched into his features. The almost desperate hunger in his eyes. I'm asking. Begging if necessary. Give me a chance, Mincio. Let me prove I'm different. Let me be part of their lives even if you never want me in yours again. You can't separate those things. My voice shook. They're my sons. If you're in their lives, you're in mine. Then I'll take whatever proximity you'll allow. He stepped closer and I could feel the heat radiating from his body, smell his scent, stronger now, tinged with desperation and desire. I'll be whatever you need me to be. Distant. Respectful. Just, don't shut me out completely. Please. Appa. Both twins had approached, flanking me protectively. Jiho took my hand. What do you want to do? What did I want? The question was too large, too complicated. I wanted to protect my sons from disappointment. I wanted to protect myself from falling back into Leon's gravitational pull. But I also saw the hope in Jihoon's eyes, the cautious curiosity in Jiho's. They deserved to know their father, the real version of him if he truly had changed. Supervised visits, I said finally, each word feeling like broken glass. Here at the cottage. Once a week. You can spend time with the twins, help with their projects. But Leon. I met his eyes directly, letting him see my fear and determination. If you show even a hint of your old behavior, if you try to control, to possess, to manipulate, I will disappear again. And this time you'll never find us. I understand. He nodded solemnly. Thank you. I swear I won't. Don't swear, I cut him off. Just prove it. Actions, not words. Actions, he agreed softly. Starting now. What time would you like me to leave? The question surprised me. The old Leon would have pushed for more time, would have tried to stay for dinner, would have manipulated the situation to his advantage. Dinner's almost ready, Jihoon said before I could answer. You could stay? If Appa says it's okay? I looked at my son's hopeful face, then at Jiho's more guarded expression, then at Leon's careful neutrality. He was leaving the decision entirely to me, not pushing, not demanding. Stay, I said, surprising myself. But just for dinner. And then you leave. Just for dinner, Leon agreed. Thank you, Mincio. As I returned to the kitchen to finish preparing the meal, I felt Leon's eyes following me. The cottage suddenly felt impossibly small, his presence overwhelming the space we'd carved out for ourselves. I heard him asking the twins about their drone project, his voice warm with genuine interest. And I wondered if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life, or given us all a chance at something better. Dinner was surreal. We sat around my small dining table, salvaged from a second-hand store and refinished by hand, and ate the curry and rice I'd prepared. Leon made no comment about the simple meal, eating with apparent appreciation that seemed genuine. The twins, after initial awkwardness, began to relax, drawn in by Leon's attention and knowledge. The issue with your facial recognition algorithm, Leon said, gesturing with his chopsticks toward Jiho's tablet, is probably in the training dataset. If you're using a standard library, it's likely biased towards certain facial structures. You'd need to compile a more diverse dataset or adjust the weighting. Jiho's eyes lit up. I thought about that, but I wasn't sure how to implement it without increasing processing time exponentially? Leon finished. There's a new compression algorithm my team developed specifically for edge computing devices. It might work for your drone's processor. I could walk you through it. I watched them interact, a strange ache building in my chest. This was what I'd wanted once. Leon engaged with our sons, patient and present. Not the distracted, controlling man he'd become, who'd seen the twins more as extensions of his legacy than individuals to nurture. Appa, father knows the same machine learning framework we've been studying. Jihoon exclaimed. He could help us debug the whole system. I'm sure your father is very busy with his company, I said carefully, starting to clear plates. He doesn't have time to. I've restructured my schedule. Leon's voice was quiet but firm. Taeyong handles most of the day-to-day operations now. My time is flexible. Completely flexible for this. Our eyes met across the table and I saw the determination there. He meant it. He'd reorganized his entire life around the possibility of being part of ours. It terrified me. After dinner, Leon helped with dishes without being asked. Another surprising departure from the man I'd known, who'd had staff for such tasks and would never have considered doing them himself. We worked in awkward silence, the twins having retreated to the living room with Leon's phone, scrolling through more of his journal entries with the ruthless curiosity of children who'd been lied to and wanted answers. They're remarkable, Leon said softly, handing me a dried plate. Brilliant. But you already know that. They are. I focused on the running water, not looking at him. And they're happy here. Stable. I won't let you disrupt that. I don't want to disrupt it. His hand brushed mine as he passed another plate, and I jerked away instinctively. Pain flashed across his face. Mincio, can I ask you something? You can ask. I may not answer. Do you ever think about before? About when it was good between us? The question caught me off guard. I did think about it. Too often. Those early months when Leon's intensity had felt exhilarating rather than suffocating. When his attention had made me feel cherished rather than trapped. Remembering the good doesn't erase the bad, I said finally. No. But it means the good was real. What we had, it wasn't all toxic, was it? His voice held a desperate edge. Tell me I didn't imagine it. That there was something worth saving. I set down the dish I'd been washing and turned to face him fully. What do you want me to say, Leon? That I loved you? I did. Desperately. You were everything to me until you became my jailer. Until your love felt like drowning. I know. He leaned against the counter and I saw how exhausted he looked. God, Mincio, I know. And I hate myself for it. Every day I think about all the ways I failed you. Failed us. Then why are you here? If you really understand what you did, why show up and ask me to risk it all again? Because I can't give up. His eyes met mine, burning with intensity one remembered too well. Because somewhere in my fucked up, broken heart I still believe we could be happy. That I could be the man you deserved. That our sons could have both their parents. Leon. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to take me back. I'm just asking you not to cut me out completely. Let me be their father. Let me prove I've changed. He took a step closer and I fought the urge to back away. And maybe if I prove it enough you might be willing to try again someday. That's never going to happen. I forced the words out, even as my traitorous body responded to his nearness. Even if you've changed, what we had is dead. You killed it. Then I'll mourn it. His voice dropped to a whisper. But I'll still be here. For them. For however long you'll let me. Father? Jihun appeared in the doorway, breaking the tension. It's getting late. Are you leaving now? Leon straightened immediately, his mask of control sliding back into place. Yes, I should go. But, may I come back? On Saturday? I could bring those microprocessors I mentioned. Both twins looked at me expectantly. I felt trapped between my fear and their hope. Saturday afternoon? I agreed reluctantly. 3 o'clock. And you leave by 6. 3 to 6. Thank you. Leon grabbed his coat, expensive cashmere that looked absurdly out of place in our cottage, and paused at the door. Good night, Jihun. Good night, Jiho. Thank you for letting me stay for dinner. Good night, Father, they chorused, and I heard the tentative warmth in their voices. After Leon left, the cottage felt emptier somehow. The twins were unusually quiet as they got ready for bed, both clearly processing the evening's events. Appa? Jihun asked as I tucked him in. Do you think Father really changed? I don't know, sweetheart. People can change, but it takes time to be sure. He seems sad, Jiho observed from the other bed. Really, really sad. Like he misses us. He does miss you. I'm sure of that. Does he miss you too? Jihun's question was innocent but cutting. Go to sleep, both of you. School tomorrow. But sleep didn't come easily for me. I lay in my own bed, listening to the ocean and thinking about Leon's words, his presence, the way my body had responded to his nearness despite my mind's protests. 2 years had passed, but the mate bond between us hadn't broken. If anything, absence had made it stronger, a constant pull I'd learned to ignore but never fully escaped. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Thank you for tonight. For letting me see them. I know I don't deserve it. Oh, I should have deleted it. Should have blocked the number. Instead, I found myself staring at those words, reading the vulnerability between the lines. Don't make me regret this, I typed back. They're fragile. You hurt them and I will destroy you. His response came immediately. I believe you. And I deserve it. Sleep well, Mincio. I didn't sleep well. I dreamed of hands that held too tight and kisses that stole breath, of running and being caught, of love that blazed so hot it burned everything to ash. Saturday came too quickly. I spent the morning cleaning unnecessarily, rearranging furniture, anything to dispel the nervous energy buzzing through my system. The twins were excited, chattering in a mixture of Korean and English about what questions they wanted to ask Leon, what projects they wanted to show him. At exactly 3 o'clock, a car pulled up, not the ostentatious luxury vehicle I'd expected, but a modest sedan. Leon emerged carrying a box of electronics and what appeared to be bags of food. I brought the microprocessors, he said when I opened the door, and I thought, maybe I could cook dinner? I know you said I have to leave at 6, but I could prep something you could finish later? Or we could eat early? I stared at him. You cook now. A wry smile touched his lips. I learned, among other things. Turned out I was fairly useless at basic life skills when I didn't have staff to do everything. The twins appeared, dragging Leon inside with enthusiasm. Within minutes, our small living room had transformed into a workshop, electronics spread across every surface. Leon knelt on the floor with them, explaining circuit designs with the patience of a man who genuinely enjoyed teaching. I retreated to the kitchen, ostensibly to make tea but really to observe from a distance. Watching Leon with the twins hurt in unexpected ways. This was the father I'd wanted them to have. Present, engaged, encouraging their brilliance without trying to control it. Appa. Come see. Jihun called. Father helped us fix the bug. The drone can recognize us perfectly now. I joined them, crouching beside Jiho to examine the tablet. Sure enough, the facial recognition system was working flawlessly, tracking each of our faces with precision. That's wonderful. I ruffled Jiho's hair. You two are going to revolutionize robotics before you're 10 at this rate. They have the minds for it, Leon said, his eyes meeting mine. And they got that from you. Your intelligence, your creativity. They're perfect because of you, Mincio. The compliment, so unexpected and genuine, stole my breath. The old Leon had praised me, but always with an edge of possession. My brilliant Omega, my perfect partner. This felt different. Acknowledgement without ownership. I should start on dinner, Leon said, standing. If that's still okay? I bought ingredients for japchae and bulgogi. I remembered you liked it. He remembered. Of course he remembered. Leon forgot nothing, especially not things related to me. In the kitchen, I watched as he moved with surprising competence, chopping vegetables and marinating meat with practiced ease. This domestic version of Leon was so foreign that I felt disoriented, like reality had tilted sideways. You really learned to cook, I said, hovering uncertainly. Had to eat something once I fired all the staff. He glanced at me with a self-deprecating smile. Turned out takeout every night wasn't sustainable. And cooking was meditative. Gave me something to focus on besides everything I'd lost. You fired the staff? All of them. The penthouse felt like a mausoleum with people moving through it, and I realized I'd been hiding behind them, using them as a buffer so I never had to actually be present in my own life. He set down his knife, turning to face me fully. Dr. Kim, my therapist, she made me live alone for 6 months. No staff, no assistants, no one to delegate basic living to. I had to learn how to be a functional human being instead of just a CEO. That must have been hard for you. I couldn't keep the slight edge of satisfaction from my voice. It was hell, he admitted freely. I burnt so much food. Flooded the laundry room twice. Accidentally set off the fire alarm making toast. Taeyong still has pictures he threatens to release to the media. His expression sobered. But it taught me humility. Made me understand how much I'd taken for granted. How much I'd expected you to manage while I was too busy with the company. I never minded managing the household, I said quietly. That wasn't the problem. I know. The problem was that I made you manage it while simultaneously monitoring your every move, questioning your every decision, treating you like property instead of a partner. He turned back to his cooking, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. The problem was me, Mincio. Always me. We worked in silence for a while, Leon cooking while I set the table. The domesticity of it felt surreal, like playing house in someone else's life. The twins appeared periodically to show us their progress, and each time, I saw Leon's face transform with unguarded joy. They really are remarkable, he said softly after they'd bounded off again. You've done an incredible job raising them alone. I'm sorry you had to do it alone. Sorry I made you feel like you had no choice. Leon, we can't keep having this conversation. We can't. Can't what? Can't acknowledge what happened? Can't talk about it? He set down his spoon, facing me fully. I know you want to keep everything surface level and safe. I understand why. But Mincio, we're going to have to deal with this eventually. With us. With what happened. There is no us anymore. But my voice lacked conviction and we both heard it. Your scent changes when I'm near, he said quietly, dangerously. I can smell your response even when you're fighting it. The mate bond didn't break. It's still there, pulling at both of us. Pheromones aren't love. I wrapped my arms around myself defensively. They're just biology. Is that what you tell yourself? He moved closer, not touching but close enough that I could feel his heat. That what we had was just alpha and omega instincts. Nothing real? What we had was toxic. I forced myself to meet his eyes. Real, yes, but toxic. You nearly destroyed me, Leon. Do you understand that? I was disappearing inside your love. Losing myself piece by piece. I do understand. Now. His hand lifted, then dropped without making contact, respecting my space even as his eyes devoured my face. And I would rather die than make you feel that way again. But Mincio, I also know that what we had, at its core before I twisted it into something ugly, was real love. Profound love. The kind people search for their whole lives. And you threw it away, I whispered, hating how my eyes stung with tears. You took something beautiful and made it nightmare. Let me make it beautiful again. His voice was raw, pleading. Let me show you I can love you the way you deserved all along. Freely. Respectfully. Without possession or control. Father? Appa? Is dinner ready? Jehun's voice interrupted us and I stepped back quickly, wiping at my eyes. Almost, sweetheart. 5 more minutes. We finished preparing the meal in charged silence. When we sat down to eat, I was hyper-aware of Leon's presence, of how his knee almost touched mine under the small table, of how his eyes kept finding mine when he thought I wasn't looking. The twins dominated conversation, explaining their robotics plans in exhaustive detail. Leon engaged with genuine interest, offering suggestions and encouragement. It was the picture of familial normalcy, except for the nuclear bomb of unresolved history sitting at the center of the table. At precisely 6 o'clock, Leon began clearing his things, preparing to leave as promised. The twins protested, wanting him to stay longer, but he was firm. I promised your Appa I'd leave at 6 and I keep my promises now. But may I come back next Saturday? Yes. Both twins answered in unison, looking at me for confirmation. I nodded reluctantly, and Leon's face brightened with carefully controlled hope. At the door he paused. Thank you for today. For letting me be part of this. I know it wasn't easy for you. It wasn't. But they need their father. A good father. Be that and we'll find a way forward. I will. He hesitated, then said quietly, You look tired, Mincio. Are you sleeping? The concern in his voice, the genuine care, made my throat tighten. I'm fine. You're not. I can see it. The circles under your eyes, the way you're holding tension in your shoulders. His hand reached out, then stopped. I'm sorry. Old habits. I'm trying to express concern without being controlling, but I'm not sure I know how to do that yet. You say you're worried. You don't interrogate me about my sleep schedule or try to fix it. That's the difference. I softened slightly. I appreciate the concern. I'm tired. But it's normal parent tired, not crisis tired. Okay. But if it becomes crisis tired, you'll tell someone? Even if not me? I have friends here. I'm not isolated like I was before. The reminder of how isolated he'd kept me landed visibly. Leon flinched but nodded. Good. That's good. You should have friends, support, freedom. Everything I denied you. After he left, Jiho turned to me with disconcerting directness. You still love father, don't you, Appa? It's complicated, sweetheart. But you do. I can tell. He exchanged a glance with Jihun. And father loves you. He looks at you like you're water and he's dying of thirst. Where did you learn to talk like that? I asked, startled. Romance novels. We've been reading them to understand relationships better. Jihun said this as if it were perfectly normal research. Most of them are trash, but some have good insights into emotional dynamics. You're 6. We're precocious, Jiho said with a shrug. Appa, we can see you're scared. But father really does seem different. Maybe you could give him a real chance. It's not that simple. I drew both boys close. Adult relationships are complicated. Especially when there's been hurt. I need to be careful, for your sake and mine. We understand, Jihun said, though his expression suggested he understood far more than I was comfortable with. But Appa, we want you to be happy. Really happy. Not just surviving happy. Their words haunted me that night as I lay awake, listening to the ocean. Was I just surviving? When had my goal shifted from living to merely enduring? And more disturbingly, could Leon possibly be the path back to actually living? The question terrified me more than I wanted to admit. The visits became routine over the following weeks. Every Saturday, Leon arrived at exactly 3 o'clock, armed with new components for the twins' projects and ingredients for increasingly ambitious meals. He never pushed boundaries, never stayed past 6, never made demands. But his presence grew more comfortable, familiar, dangerously so. I watched him with the twins and saw genuine transformation. This wasn't the distant, controlling alpha who'd viewed fatherhood as another arena for dominance. This Leon listened when they explained their ideas, admitted when he didn't know something, celebrated their failures as learning opportunities. He was patient when Jihun's enthusiasm led to mistakes, gentle when Jiho's perfectionism caused frustration. You're good with them, I admitted one Saturday evening in early December. We stood at the kitchen window watching the twins play with their latest creation, a small tracked robot that could navigate obstacles, in the garden. Better than I expected. They make it easy, Leon replied, his eyes soft. They're everything good in this world. Everything I didn't deserve but got anyway. Don't do that, I said with a sigh. The self-flagellation thing. It's exhausting. Sorry? Dr. Kim says I'm still working on finding balance between accountability and self-forgiveness. He turned to face me, and I was struck again by how much thinner he was, how the shadows never quite left his eyes. How do you do it, Mincio? Forgive yourself for mistakes. I don't know that I have. The admission surprised me. I carry guilt too. For not leaving sooner. For exposing them to our toxic dynamic as long as I did. You were surviving an impossible situation. That's not the same as being the abuser. No, but I made choices. Stayed when I should have gone. Believed your promises when evidence said otherwise. Leon was quiet for a moment. I used your omega biology against you. Made you doubt your instincts by overwhelming you with alpha pheromones when you tried to assert boundaries. That wasn't your fault. I looked at him sharply. Your therapist really did work on you. She destroyed me and rebuilt me from scratch. It was necessary. He smiled without humor. Some of the sessions I'd leave and go sit in my car and just weep for hours. Facing what I'd done, what I'd become, it broke something in me that needed to break. I don't know what to do with this version of you, I confessed. The old Leon I knew how to handle. Fight, flee, survive. But this honest, self-aware version? I don't know how to protect myself from you when you're being vulnerable. You shouldn't have to protect yourself from me at all. That's the point. Easy to say. Harder to believe after years of. Appa. Father. Look. Jihun's shout interrupted us. We rushed to the window to see their robot successfully navigating a complex obstacle course they'd constructed. That's incredible. Leon called out, genuine pride in his voice. As we watched them celebrate, Leon's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression hardened. I need to take this. It's Taeyong. Work emergency. He stepped onto the balcony and through the glass, I watched his body language shift, shoulders squaring, jaw tightening. The CEO returning. After a few minutes he came back inside and I could see the stress in his eyes. I have to go handle something at the office. I'm sorry, I know it's only 5:30. It's fine. Work emergencies happen. I'll make it up to them next week. I promise. He grabbed his coat, pausing at the door. Mincio, thank you. For these weeks. For this chance. It means everything. After he left, I found myself oddly disappointed. The cottage felt empty without his presence. A dangerous realization. Father had to leave early? Jiho asked, coming inside with Jihun. Work emergency. He'll be back next week. He always keeps his promises now, Jihun observed. That's good, right, Appa? It is good, sweetheart. But that night, as I scrolled through news on my phone, I found articles about Kong Industries. There was trouble, a major investor pulling out, questions about company direction, rumors of internal power struggles. The business world Leon inhabited was cutthroat, and his absence from active management these past months had apparently created vulnerability. I shouldn't care. His company troubles weren't my concern. But I found myself worrying anyway, old instincts dying hard. My phone rang near midnight. Leon's name on the screen. You should be asleep, I said instead of hello. So should you. His voice was exhausted. I saw your bedroom light on from the road. You're here? Why? Because the crisis got resolved faster than expected and I was driving past and He trailed off. I don't know. I wanted to make sure you were okay. Leon, you can't just show up at midnight. I know. I'm not asking to come in. I needed to see that you were safe. That's all. I moved to the window and looked out. Sure enough, his car was parked down the road and I could see his silhouette in the driver's seat, phone pressed to his ear. This is creepy, I told him. Watching my house in the middle of the night. I know. I'm sorry. I'll go. But he didn't move to start the car. Are you okay? I saw the news about the company. Worried about me? There was surprise in his voice. Don't read into it. Just, are you okay? A long pause. No. But I will be. The company stuff is manageable. It's just, being back in that world playing those games, after months of focusing on what actually matters, it reminded me how empty it all is. How I spent years building an empire and almost lost my family in the process. Leon. I should go. Let you sleep. I'm sorry for being weird and showing up here. Wait. The word escaped before I could stop it. Are you hungry? You probably haven't eaten. Silence. Then carefully, are you inviting me in? Just for food. Don't make it more than it is. 10 minutes later, we sat at my kitchen table, Leon devouring the soup I'd reheated while I nursed tea. He'd shed his suit jacket and rolled up his sleeves, and I could see how thin his wrists had become. You're not eating enough, I observed. Neither are you. These past months, are you taking care of yourself, Mincio? I asked you first. I eat when I remember. Usually I'm too focused on work or thinking about. He gestured vaguely. Everything I've lost. The therapist is helping with everything except actual life management? Dr. Kim says I'm using work and self-improvement as avoidance mechanisms. That I need to deal with the grief of losing you properly instead of trying to fix myself fast enough to win you back. Smart woman. Brutally so. He set down his spoon, looking at me with raw honesty. She's right though. I keep thinking if I just change enough, become perfect enough, you'll forget what I did. But that's still trying to control the outcome. Still not accepting that you might never want me back, and that's okay. That's your right. Is it okay? You accepting that? It has to be. The alternative is becoming what I was before, so desperate to keep you that I'd cage you again. He reached across the table, hand hovering near mine without touching. But Mincio, I'd be lying if I said I didn't hope that somewhere in the future, after I've proven myself sufficiently, you might consider. Don't. I pulled my hand away. Don't hope for that. It's not fair to either of us. Fair died 2 years ago when I destroyed our marriage. His voice went rough. I'm past fair. I'm into desperate bargaining with the universe. But you're right. I shouldn't put that on you. We sat in loaded silence. Finally, I asked, why are you really here, Leon? And don't say you were just driving past. I had a panic attack. After the meeting, Taeyong found me in my office, hyperventilating, convinced I was losing everything again. He laughed bitterly. Turns out, past trauma gets triggered. Who knew? And you came here instead of going home? Home is wherever you and the twins are. The penthouse is just a building. He met my eyes. You're my home, Mincio. Always have been. And yes, I know that's intense and probably not what you want to hear, but it's the truth. My breath caught. The vulnerability in his admission, the raw need, it called to something deep in my omega biology that I'd been suppressing for 2 years. You should go, I said, but it came out uncertain. I should. He didn't move. But God, Mincio, I've missed you. Not just the physical stuff, though I've missed that so much I feel insane. But this. Talking to you. Being near you. Your presence, your scent, the way you think. I'm an addict who's been sober for 2 years, and I'm sitting across from my drug of choice. That's not healthy, I whispered. No. It's absolutely not. He stood abruptly. I should leave before I do something stupid like beg you to let me stay. Or tell you how many nights I've lain awake imagining what it would feel like to hold you again. Or, stop. My voice was shaky. Leon, you need to stop. You're right. I'm sorry. He grabbed his jacket, movements jerky with suppressed emotion. Thank you for the food. And for listening. I'll see you next Saturday. Normal time. I'll be normal. But at the door he turned back. One question. Just one, and then I'll never ask again. What? Do you ever miss it? Even just a little? The question hung between us like a blade. I could lie. Should lie. But something in his desperate eyes demanded honesty. Every day, I admitted, I miss what we could have been. What we were before you made it toxic. And I hate myself for missing it because it means some part of me is still weak for you. That's not weakness, Leon said hoarsely. That's the mate bond. It doesn't care about past damage. It just wants us together. The mate bond is a biological trap. Or it's biology recognizing what our souls already knew, that we belong together. Leon. He kissed me. One moment he was standing in the doorway, the next he'd crossed the distance between us and his mouth was on mine with desperate hunger. For a shocked second I froze. Then my body betrayed me completely, responding with equal desperation. 2 years of denial shattered as I kissed him back, hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer even as my mind screamed danger. His hands cupped my face with a gentleness that contradicted the intensity of the kiss. He tasted like soup, a need and familiarity so profound it hurt. When he deepened the kiss, I heard myself make a sound that was half sob, half moan. Then reality crashed back. I shoved him away hard. Get out. My voice shook. Get out right now. Mincio, You promised? You promised you wouldn't push, wouldn't manipulate, and the first moment I show weakness I couldn't finish, too angry and aroused and confused to form coherent words. You're right. He stepped back, hands raised. You're absolutely right. I promised and I broke it. That's exactly the kind of thing the old Leon would do. Horror crept into his expression. God, I'm so sorry. I wasn't thinking. I just wanted what you wanted and took it. Yes, I know. That's what you do. No, not anymore. That can't be who I am anymore. He looked devastated. Mincio, please. Let me fix this. Tell me how to fix this. You can't. You just proved that nothing has actually changed. That when push comes to shove, you'll still prioritize your wants over my boundaries. That's not true. I made a mistake. One mistake after months of respecting every boundary you set. One mistake is all it takes. I was crying now, angry tears streaming down my face. One moment of losing control and I'm right back to feeling hunted and trapped and terrified. I'm not going to hurt you. His voice broke. Mincio, I swear on everything. Your swears mean nothing. Actions matter, and you just showed me you haven't changed at all. I saw the moment something in Leon cracked. His careful control shattered, and he sank to his knees right there in my doorway, head bowed, shoulders shaking. I can't lose you again, he whispered. I can't survive it, Mincio. These months, seeing the twins, it's been keeping me alive. Take it away and I don't know what I'll do. That's manipulation, I said, but my voice wavered. Threatening harm to yourself if I don't. I'm not threatening. I'm being honest. I'm terrified of what I become without you. Without them. These past months have been the only thing keeping the darkness at bay. I wanted to be unmoved. Wanted to throw him out and never let him back. But I'd been where he was, broken, desperate, barely holding together. And some wounded part of me recognized the same in him. Get up, I said quietly. Get up and go home, Leon. Take a few days. Figure out what you actually want. And decide if you can handle being part of our lives without needing to possess us. Because I will not be owned again. Not by you, not by anyone. He rose slowly, unsteadily. Am I still allowed to see the twins on Saturday? I don't know. I need to think. The devastation on his face was total. Please don't punish them for my mistake. I'm not. I'm protecting them from instability. If you can't control yourself around me, how am I supposed to trust you with them? I can control myself. I will. I was emotionally compromised and made a terrible choice. It won't happen again. No, it won't. Because I won't give you the opportunity. I closed the door on his anguished face and immediately collapsed against it, sliding down to sit on the floor. My whole body shook with adrenaline and unshed tears. The kiss had awakened something I'd buried deep, the primal pull toward Leon that no amount of rational thought could fully suppress. I touched my lips, still feeling the ghost of his mouth on mine, and hated myself for wanting more. The next morning, I woke to find an envelope slipped under my door. Inside was a letter in Leon's handwriting. Mincio. I spent the entire night awake, replaying my actions, trying to understand how I convinced myself that kissing you was acceptable. Dr. Kim has always warned me that stress makes people revert to old patterns. Last night, I was stressed, desperate, emotionally raw, and I fell back on taking what I wanted without asking. Exactly the behavior I swore I'd changed. You're right to be angry. Right to not trust me. I proved that all my growth could evaporate in a moment of weakness. But here's what I want you to understand. Recognizing what I did wrong is part of the change. The old Leon would have justified it, blamed you for sending mixed signals, refused to accept responsibility. This Leon knows he crossed a line. This Leon understands consent doesn't stop mattering just because we're mates or have history. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for one more chance to prove that last night was a regression, not a revelation of unchanged character. Let me see the twins on Saturday. If I show even a hint of disrespecting your boundaries again, I'll walk away. I'll sign over whatever custody rights you want, set up a trust fund so you're financially secure, and remove myself from your lives except for minimal necessary contact. But please, Mincio, don't let my failure take away their father. I'm begging you. Leon. P.S. I'm checking myself into a week-long intensive therapy program. Dr. Kim agreed this regression indicates I need more intensive work on impulse control and boundary respect. I won't contact you until Saturday. The choice of whether to open the door when I knock is entirely yours. I read the letter 3 times, looking for manipulation, for hidden angles. But it seemed genuine, a man who'd stumbled and was trying desperately to get back up. The twins found me at the kitchen table, still holding the letter. Is father in trouble? Jiho asked with his usual perceptiveness. He made a mistake. He's trying to fix it. Are you going to forgive him? Jihun climbed into my lap despite being almost too big for it. I don't know yet, baby. Forgiveness is complicated. You taught us that everyone deserves second chances if they're really trying to change, Jiho pointed out. Does father count as really trying? Out of the mouths of babes. My own wisdom thrown back at me. Yes, I admitted. He does seem to be really trying. But adults? It's more complicated with adults. There's more history, more hurt. You still love him though, Jihun said with absolute certainty. We can tell. You look at him the way he looks at you. Like you're both drowning and the other person is air. When did you two become relationship experts? We read a lot, they said in unison, making me laugh despite everything. Saturday arrived with agonizing slowness. I spent the days vacillating between anger and longing, between determination to protect myself and desperate hope that Leon really had changed. The twins asked repeatedly if father was still coming, their anxiety growing with each day. At 3 o'clock exactly, the knock came. I opened the door to find Leon looking worse than I'd ever seen him. Dark circles under his eyes, hair disheveled, clothes rumpled. He'd clearly made good on his intensive therapy promise. May I come in? His voice was hoarse. I stepped aside wordlessly. The twins rushed to him and I watched his face transform as he knelt to embrace them. Whatever else was true, his love for them was absolute. Father. We thought maybe you weren't coming. Jehun exclaimed. I'll always come when I say I will, Leon assured them. Always. That's a promise. They dragged him to show off their latest project, and I retreated to the kitchen, needing distance. Leon followed after a few minutes, leaving the twins absorbed in their work. Thank you, he said quietly, for letting me in, for not taking them away from me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for them. I know. And I'm grateful anyway. He kept his distance, respecting my space meticulously. I meant what I said in the letter. I'm different. What happened can't happen again. How can you be sure? If stress makes you revert. Because I've put safeguards in place. Dr. Kim taught me grounding techniques. And I've accepted that you may never want me romantically again. That I need to learn to be satisfied with whatever role you'll allow me in your life. His eyes met mine. I love you, Mincio. I'll probably always love you. But I'm learning that love without respect is just abuse with prettier packaging. That's surprisingly insightful. I've had good teachers. Expensive ones but good. A ghost of his old humor flickered. So, where do we go from here? Supervised visits continue. You prove through actions that last week was an aberration. And maybe, eventually, I start to trust you again. Maybe. That's more than I deserve. Thank you. He turned to go back to the twins but I stopped him. Leon? For what it's worth, I'm glad you're trying. Really trying. The twins need you. And maybe I do too. Eventually. When I'm ready to believe the change is real. Hope blazed in his eyes, quickly suppressed. I can wait. I'm good at waiting now. It's all I've done for 2 years. As he settled in with the twins, explaining some new programming concept with patience and enthusiasm, I felt something shift in my chest. Not forgiveness, not yet. But the first tentative thread of possibility that maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. If he could keep proving himself. If I could learn to trust again. If we could both survive the intensity of the mate bond pulling us together while past trauma pushed us apart. It was a fragile hope. But it was hope nonetheless. And after 2 years of just surviving, maybe hope was enough to start with. 3 months after the kiss, a precarious equilibrium had established itself. Leon came every Saturday without fail and gradually I'd allowed him to stay longer. Sometimes until 8, occasionally through dinner. The twins adored him, their initial wariness transformed into genuine affection. And I was falling for him again, despite every rational instinct telling me to guard my heart. But the universe, it seemed, had other plans. It started with a phone call on a Tuesday evening. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. You Mincio? An unfamiliar female voice, crisp and professional. This is Attorney Park Soo-min. I represent the Yu family trust. My blood ran cold. The Yu family, my estranged relatives, powerful and vindictive, who disowned me when I'd married an alpha without their approval. I hadn't spoken to them in over 8 years. What do you want? I asked, keeping my voice steady while the twins played nearby. The family has recently become aware of your son's exceptional abilities. Test scores, academic achievements, their various projects that have gained attention online. Her tone was pleasant, but I heard the steel beneath. The family believes the twins would benefit from proper resources and education. We're prepared to offer full custody to your aunt and uncle who can provide. No. The word came out flat and final. Absolutely not. Mr. Yu, you're raising them in poverty when they could have access to the best schools, the finest tutors, every advantage. They're my sons. Not family assets to be collected. We're prepared to make this very lucrative for you. A settlement that would ensure your comfortable retirement in exchange for custody rights. I hung up, hands shaking. The Yu family didn't make idle threats. If they wanted the twins, they had the money and connections to make my life hell through legal channels. I called Leon without thinking. Mincio? He answered on the first ring as always. What's wrong? I can hear it in your voice. I explained the call, words tumbling out. Leon listened without interrupting, but I could practically hear his alpha instincts roaring to life through the phone. They can't take them, he said, voice hard with fury. I won't let them. Mincio, listen to me. You and the twins need to come to Seoul. Now. Today. Leon, I can't just. Yes, you can. The Yu family has connections here but limited reach in Seoul's legal system, especially against me. I'll have my lawyers file emergency custody motions, get restraining orders, whatever it takes. He was already moving. I could hear him grabbing keys, doors closing. I'm getting in the car now. I'll be there in 4 hours. Pack bags for a week. We'll figure out the rest once you're somewhere safe. This is exactly what I was afraid of. I said, panic rising. You taking control, making decisions? Mincio. His voice gentled. I'm not taking control. I'm offering help. You can refuse. You can handle this yourself. But please don't refuse because you're afraid of me. Refuse only if you genuinely think you have a better option. He was right, damn him. I had no resources to fight the Yu family. No legal team, no connections, no money for a prolonged court battle. And the twins' safety had to come first. Okay, I whispered. Okay. We'll be ready. 4 hours later, Leon's car pulled up. He'd brought Taeyong, who greeted me with warm concern and immediately began entertaining the twins, giving Leon and me space to talk. Are you sure about this? I asked as we loaded bags. Taking us to Seoul, getting involved in my family drama? They're threatening our sons, Leon said simply. Of course I'm sure. Mincio, I know you're worried this is me being controlling again. But I swear this is just me using resources I have to protect my family. You're in charge. You make the decisions. I'm providing backup. The 5-hour drive to Seoul was surreal. The twins fell asleep in the back seat while Taeyong drove, leaving Leon and me in the back with them. Leon's hand rested on the seat between us, close but not touching, respecting my space even now. Thank you, I said quietly. For coming so fast. For helping. You don't thank me for this. This is what I should have been all along, a partner who supports rather than controls. Where are we going to stay? I own several properties. I thought the house in Songbukdong would be best. It's secure, gated, but not the penthouse. Somewhere that feels less like. He trailed off. Less like the cage I lived in before? Yes. The house was beautiful, traditional Korean architecture updated with modern luxuries, surrounded by gardens and high walls. Private but not ostentatious. Guest rooms were prepared, and Leon showed us around with careful neutrality. The twins can share this room, or they each can have their own, he explained. There's a workspace in the lower level with fast internet and plenty of room for their projects. And your room? He led me to a suite at the opposite end of the house from the master bedroom. Has its own entrance to the garden. Privacy. Independence. You've thought of everything. I've had months to think about what would make you feel safe if you ever let me close again. His eyes met mine. This isn't about trapping you here, Mincio. Stay a week, stay a month, stay until the legal issues are resolved. It's up to you. But you're not prisoners. Your family being protected. That night, after the twins were settled and sleeping, I found Leon in the kitchen, reviewing legal documents his team had already prepared. They work fast, I observed. I pay them to work fast. He set down the papers. We'll file first thing in the morning. Emergency custody confirmation for you, restraining orders against your family, and... He hesitated. I'd like to add my name to their birth certificates. Legally establish paternity. It would give us both stronger standing against your family's claims. That's a big step. It's overdue. I should have been on them from the beginning. I'm their father. Let me be that, legally. Unless you don't want me to be. I studied his face, the exhaustion, the determination, the careful hope. Okay, add your name. But Leon, this doesn't mean we're back together. This doesn't mean. I know what it means. It means you're letting me be their father officially. Nothing more. But I saw the flicker of pain in his eyes. That's enough. For now, that's enough. The next few days were in strategic planning. The Yu family struck back hard, filing counter-motions and making public statements about my unfit parenting and the twins' need for proper family guidance. It got ugly fast. Through it all, Leon was a steady presence. He attended every meeting but deferred to my decisions. He provided resources but didn't dictate strategy. And with the twins, he was perfect, entertaining them when court proceedings ran long, helping with their projects, making them feel secure despite the upheaval. Father? Jiho asked one evening while I was on yet another call with lawyers. Why do those people want to take us away from Appa? Leon knelt to his level and I paused my conversation to listen. Because some people think children are possessions to be claimed rather than individuals to be loved. They think your brilliance makes you valuable assets rather than precious humans. But they're wrong. And you're Appa and I will never let them take you. But what if the judges believe them? Jihun's voice was small. What if they say we have to go? Then I'll use every resource I have to fight. And if that fails, Leon's voice went hard, I'll take you somewhere they can never find you. All three of you. Somewhere safe. That would be illegal, Jiho pointed out. I don't care. Some things matter more than legality. You three are everything. I'll burn the world down before I let anyone hurt you. I ended my call, throat tight. This fierce protectiveness, this willingness to sacrifice everything, it was what I needed from Leon years ago. What had been buried under his controlling tendencies and obsessive possessiveness? Father? Jihun climbed into Leon's lap, Jiho following. We're glad you found us. Even if things are scary now, we're glad you're here. Leon's eyes found mine across the room, shimmering with emotion. I saw the question there. Was I glad? Despite everything, despite the fear and complications, was I glad he'd found us? I gave a small nod, and watched relief transform his features. The custody hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks out. In the meantime, we fell into an unexpected domesticity. Leon worked from home, managing his company remotely while remaining available. We shared meals, evening conversations, mundane daily life. And slowly the walls I'd built around my heart began to crack. It happened in small moments. Leon reading bedtime stories to the twins with theatrical voices that made them giggle. His hand on my lower back, steadying me when I stumbled on stairs, then immediately withdrawing, touch given without demand for more. The way he'd learned my coffee preferences, my schedule, my moods, attending to them without being asked. One evening, I found him on the garden terrace, staring at the Seoul skyline with haunted eyes. Couldn't sleep? I asked, joining him. Kept thinking about the hearing. About what-ifs. He glanced at me. And about you. About how I'm living with you again but can't touch you, can't hold you, can't. He shook his head. Sorry. That's not fair of me. How are you handling it? Having us close but not. I gestured vaguely. It's agony, he admitted. But it's agony I chose. Agony I deserve. And honestly, Mincio, having you near in any capacity is better than the hell of you being gone. The mate bond is stronger here, isn't it? Being in proximity again. God, yes. I can smell you everywhere. Feel you in every room. My alpha instincts are going insane, demanding I claim you, mark you, keep you. He gripped the railing. But I've learned to ignore instincts. To choose conscious action over biological imperative. I moved closer, studying his profile. You really have changed. You sound surprised. I am, a little. People don't usually transform this fundamentally. People who don't face consequences for their behavior don't transform. I faced the ultimate consequence, losing everything that mattered. It was change or die. He turned to face me fully. Mincio, I need you to understand something. Even if you never want me romantically again, I'll stay in your life however you'll let me. Co-parent, friend, distant acquaintance, whatever you're comfortable with. Because having some part of you is infinitely better than having nothing. That's not healthy, I whispered. You can't build your whole existence around someone who might never love you back. Who said might never? His eyes searched mine. You do still love me. I see it. I feel it. You're just terrified to admit it because of what I did before. Of course I'm terrified. Leon, you nearly destroyed me. You made love feel like suffocation. How do I trust that this time is different? I don't know. His honesty was stark. But Mincio, isn't the fact that I'm not pushing you right now proof of something? We're alone. It's late. The mate bond is screaming at both of us. And I'm standing here, respecting your space, letting you control this moment. The old Leon would have already tried to seduce you, to use pheromones and proximity to overwhelm your resistance. He was right. The old Leon wouldn't have been able to resist pressuring me. But this Leon stood absolutely still, letting me have all the power. What if I wanted you to try? The words escaped before I could stop them. Leon's eyes widened. What? What if I'm tired of fighting this? What if I want to see if it could be different? My heart hammered. What if I kissed you this time? Would you let me control it? Could you give me that power? Mincio. His voice was strained. Don't play with me. Not about this. I'm barely holding on as it is. I'm not playing. I stepped closer into his personal space. I'm testing. Proving to myself that you've really changed. So stand there. Don't move. Don't initiate. Let me decide what happens next. I watched him war with himself, alpha instincts demanding he take control versus his conscious commitment to change. Slowly, deliberately, Leon locked his hands behind his back, physically restraining himself. Okay, he breathed. Okay. Your choice. Your pace. I won't move unless you want me to. I reached up, tracing his jaw with trembling fingers. He shuddered but stayed perfectly still. His eyes, though, they burned with barely restrained hunger. I could smell his arousal, his desperate need, but he didn't move. Didn't grab me. Didn't take. You're really not going to push? I whispered. Never again. His voice was raw. Not if it means losing you again. You control this, Mincio. You control us. I'm here, hoping you'll want me even a fraction as much as I want you. I kissed him then, softly at first, testing. Leon made a broken sound but kept his hands locked behind his back, letting me explore at my own pace. I deepened the kiss and he responded but never dominated, never tried to take over. Even when I pressed against him, feeling his obvious arousal, he stayed controlled. Giving but not taking. When I finally pulled back, we were both breathless. Bedroom, I said. No. But Leon, we do this at my pace. You follow my lead. Can you do that? Yes. No hesitation. God, yes. Anything you want. However you want it. I took his hand, leading him to my suite. Inside, I turned to face him, suddenly nervous. Not since we were last together. And even then, toward the end, it felt more like obligation than. We don't have to do this. Leon's hands cupped my face gently. Mincio, we can stop right now. Just the kissing was enough. More than enough. But I want you happy. If that means stopping here, we stop. His sincerity undid me. I pulled him down for another kiss, this one less tentative. I want this. Want you. But I need to know I can stop at any time. That you'll listen if I say no. Of course I'll listen. Your no is absolute. Always. He held my gaze. Use it whenever you need to. I won't be hurt or angry. I'll just stop. I promise. We undressed each other slowly, reverently. Leon's hands shook as he helped with my shirt, his eyes drinking in skin he hadn't seen in over 2 years. When we were both naked, he just stood there letting me look my fill. He was thinner than before, hip bones more prominent, but still beautiful. Still the man who'd made my body sing. Scars marked his torso, surgical ones, I realized. What are these? I traced them gently. Emergency appendectomy. 6 months after you left. I ignored the symptoms too long because I was not taking care of myself. He caught my hand. Taeyong found me collapsed in my office. It ruptured during surgery. I almost died. Leon. Horror and guilt warred in my chest. Not your fault. Nothing about my self-destruction after you left was your fault, Mincio. Was mine. Just mine. I kissed the scars, feeling him tremble. Then I pushed him gently toward the bed. Lie down. Let me relearn you. He obeyed without argument, sprawling across my bed with careful trust. I explored his body slowly, mapping changes, relearning responses. Every touch drew gasps and shudders from him, but he never tried to flip our positions or take control. Just lay there, surrendering completely to my pace. You're so different, I murmured, kissing along his hip. Before, you could never just receive. Always had to be in charge. Before, I didn't understand that true strength is in surrender. In trusting someone else with your vulnerability. His eyes were dark with need. I trust you, Mincio. With my body, my heart, everything. Do whatever you want with me. The permission, the absolute surrender from an alpha as powerful as Leon, it was intoxicating. I continued my exploration, taking my time, occasionally asking, "Is this okay?" and watching him nod desperately. When I finally took him in my hand, he cried out, "Mincio, please, please, I need." What? Tell me what you need. You. Inside together, I don't care how. Just need to be connected to you again. I retrieved supplies from the bedside table. Thank God Leon had thought to stock the suite with everything, and prepared myself while he watched with hungry eyes. Then I straddled him, sinking down slowly, taking him into my body after 2 years apart. We both groaned. Leon's hands gripped my hips, not to control but to ground himself, and I saw tears streak his temples. "I love you," he gasped. "God, Mincio, I love you so much. Never stopped. Never will." "I love you too," I admitted, moving slowly. "I'm terrified and still don't fully trust this, but I love you. Always have. I'll earn your trust back. I swear. I'll spend the rest of my life proving I've changed." I set the pace, riding him slowly, and Leon followed my rhythm without trying to take over. When I asked him to move, he did. When I told him to slow down, he did. Complete obedience to my desires, the ultimate proof of change. When I finally came apart, it was with Leon's name on my lips and tears streaming down my face, release and grief and hope all tangled together. Leon followed moments later, pulling me close as we both trembled through aftershocks. Afterward, we lay tangled together, his hand stroking my hair gently. "No regrets?" he asked quietly. "Ask me in the morning. Right now, I just want to feel this without overthinking it." "Fair enough." He kissed my forehead. "For what it's worth, that was everything I've dreamed about for 2 years. Being with you again, but different. Better. The way it should have always been." "It was different," I agreed. "You let me lead. You actually listened when I said what I wanted." "I'll always listen now. I swear it." His arms tightened carefully around me. "Mincio, I know one night doesn't fix everything. Doesn't undo 2 years of pain. But are we trying again? Really trying?" "I don't know," I said honestly. Let me see how you handle the morning. If you're still respectful and patient, if you don't immediately assume this means ownership, then maybe we can try. I can do that. I can be patient. I can. Shoo. I pressed a finger to his lips. Stop trying to prove things with words. Just sleep. Hold me. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. He nodded, settling into stillness, his heartbeat steady under my ear. Within minutes, his breathing evened into sleep, the first truly peaceful sleep I'd seen from him in months. I stayed awake longer, processing what we'd done, what it meant. Scared and hopeful in equal measure. The mate bond hummed contentedly, satisfied by our connection. My heart remained cautiously guarded but starting to crack open. Maybe, just maybe, we could be different this time. Better. Healed versions of our broken selves, building something new from the ashes of what we destroyed. Maybe. Morning arrived with sunlight streaming through windows and the twins' voices in the hallway. Leon woke slowly, then tensed when he realized where we were. Last night wasn't a dream? He whispered. No. It happened. And you're still here. Didn't run while I slept. Didn't run. I propped myself up on an elbow. How do you feel? Terrified I'll do something to ruin this. Grateful beyond words. Desperately in love with you. His hand came up to touch my face gently. How do you feel? Conflicted. Hopeful. Still scared. But less scared than yesterday. That's progress. I'll take it. A knock on the door. Appa? Father? Jehun's voice. We're hungry and we can't find anyone. Leon and I looked at each other and simultaneously burst into laughter, the absurdity of the situation hitting us both. We should get dressed, I said. Go deal with our brilliant, demanding children. Together? Leon asked carefully. Or do you want me to leave first, maintain the illusion we're still separate? Together. The decision felt right. They should see us together. See what healthy partnership looks like. Leon's smile was brilliant. Together. God, I love the sound of that. We dressed quickly and emerged to find both twins in the kitchen, surrounded by ingredients they'd clearly attempted to use for breakfast with limited success. We tried to make pancakes, Jiho explained sheepishly. But they kind of exploded. I see that. Leon surveyed the batter-covered kitchen with amusement. How about father makes pancakes while Appa supervises? The morning was surprisingly normal. Breakfast, cleanup, discussion of the twins' latest project ideas. But I noticed small things that were different from our old life together. Leon asked my opinion instead of declaring decisions. He shared kitchen duties instead of watching me work. He praised the twins' attempts rather than focusing on their failures. Real change. Sustained over months of practice. After breakfast, while the twins were absorbed in their projects, Leon's lawyer called. The Yu family had withdrawn their custody claim. What? Why? I demanded. Apparently, the lawyer said with satisfaction in her voice, Mr. Kong made it very clear that he would bury them in legal challenges and public relations nightmares if they pursued this. Combined with his paternity being officially recognized and your family's own past scandals being threatened with exposure, they decided the twins weren't worth the fight. After hanging up, I turned to Leon. What past scandals? Your family has plenty of skeletons. I hired investigators, found everything, and made it clear I'd burn it all to the ground if they threatened my family. His expression was hard. I told you I'd use every resource I have. I meant it. That's ruthless. Protecting you and our sons isn't ruthless. It's basic alpha responsibility. Something I failed at before but won't ever fail at again. The custody threat was over. We were safe. The twins were ours, uncontested. I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt oddly deflated. What happens now? I asked Leon quietly. The emergency is over. We don't need to stay here anymore. His face carefully blank. You can go back to the coast if you want. I'll arrange for better security at the cottage, make sure you have resources. But Mincio, I'm hoping you won't go. That maybe you'll consider staying here. All of you. Trying to be a family again. A family? My heart raced. Leon, last night was amazing, but we can't just jump back into. Not the old family, he interrupted. A new one. Built on actual respect and communication. Where you have complete autonomy and I have earned trust. His eyes pleaded. Stay. Let me prove this is real. That I've truly changed. That we can build something better than what we destroyed. I looked toward the living room where our sons were laughing together, working on their latest invention. Then back at Leon's hopeful, terrified face. Okay, I said slowly. We'll stay. But Leon, trial basis. We're trying this, not committing to forever. If you backslide even slightly. I won't. His hands cupped my face. I swear on everything I have, I won't. You and them, you're everything. I'll be whatever I need to be to keep you in my life. Then be yourself. The real you. The patient, kind, reformed version. That's who I'm falling for again. Don't let me down. I won't. I promise. He kissed me softly, reverently, and I felt the last walls around my heart finally begin to crumble. This wasn't the overwhelming, possessive kiss of before. This was partnership. Mutual want. Respect. Maybe we could do this. Maybe love could be healthy and whole and beautiful after being broken and toxic. Maybe redemption was possible. With Leon's arms around me and our son's laughter filling the air, I let myself believe in maybe. And this time, maybe felt strong enough to build a future on. The twins' 7th birthday party was in full swing in the garden of our soul home. Not the house we'd hidden in during the custody crisis, but a new place we'd chosen together. Leon, the twins, and me. Our family home. I stood on the terrace, watching Leon chase the twins through an elaborate obstacle course they designed for their own party, and felt peace settle in my chest. Real, uncomplicated peace. They're getting too fast for you. I called out with a laugh as Leon pretended to lag behind, letting Jihoon and Jiho escape. I'm old, he called back dramatically. Having a mate and 2 brilliant sons aged me prematurely. You're 37, not 70. Taeyong shouted from where he was manning the grill. Stop being dramatic. Says the man who cried at our remarriage ceremony. Leon shot back, grinning. Remarriage. 6 months ago we'd stood before family and friends and renewed our vows, but different this time. Vows built on lessons learned, mistakes acknowledged, growth achieved. Leon had cried through the entire ceremony. So had I. Appa. Come try the cake we designed. Jiho called, dragging me toward an elaborate creation shaped like a circuit board with edible LED lights they'd somehow managed to make functional. Did you two seriously engineer your own birthday cake? I asked with amusement. Father helped, Jihoon admitted. But we did most of the electronics ourselves. Leon joined us, wrapping an arm around my waist with the casual affection I'd learned to trust again. They're terrifying. You know that, right? By the time they're 10, they'll probably have invented sentient AI. And you'll encourage them every step of the way, I said, leaning into his embrace. Absolutely. He kissed my temple. They're remarkable. Like their Appa. Later, after the party wound down and the twins were exhausted in bed, Leon and I sat in our garden under the stars. His hand found mine, lacing our fingers together. Happy? He asked softly. Incredibly. You. More than I ever thought possible after what I did. Mincio, sometimes I still can't believe you gave me another chance. That we're here together actually happy. You earned it, I said simply. Every day for the past 1.5 years, you've proven you're different. That you respect me, trust me, love me without possession. I'll never stop proving it. His thumb traced circles on my palm. This, us, it's my life's work now. Making sure you and the twins are happy, safe, loved properly. Everything else is secondary. Even the company? Especially the company. Taeyong can run it. I don't need to be CEO of the world if it means sacrificing CEO of this family. He pulled me closer. You're my priority. Forever. I kissed him then, slow and deep, tasting love that had died and been reborn stronger. When we broke apart, I rested my forehead against his. I love you, Leon. The real you. The one who learned to be better. I love you more than breathing, Mincio. Thank you for not giving up on us. For seeing who I could become. Above us, the stars wheeled through the sky, indifferent to human drama. But here in our garden, we created our own constellation. A family rebuilt from broken pieces into something beautiful and whole. The twins slept peacefully inside. Our home was filled with love and laughter. And Leon held me like I was precious but not fragile, beloved but not possessed. We'd walked through fire and survived. Now we were learning to flourish in the aftermath. And it was worth every painful step. The house was finally quiet. After the excitement of the twins' birthday party, Jihoon and Jiho had crashed hard, falling asleep almost immediately after their baths. Leon and I had tucked them in together, watching them curl toward each other and sleep the way they always did, two halves of a whole. Now, standing in our bedroom, not separate spaces anymore, I felt the familiar flutter of anticipation mixed with contentment. A year of rebuilding trust had brought us here, sharing space, sharing life, sharing everything. Leon emerged from the bathroom, hair still damp from his shower, wearing only sleep pants that hung low on his hips. He'd gained back the weight he'd lost during our separation, his body strong and healthy again. My Omega biology responded immediately to the sight of him, to his scent, cedar and smoke with an undertone of something uniquely Leon. You're staring, he said with a soft smile, crossing the room toward me. I'm admiring, I corrected, reaching out to trace the line of his collarbone. There's a difference. Admire all you want. His hand settled on my hips, warm through the thin fabric of my shirt. I'm yours to look at, to touch. Whatever you want, Mincio. Even after a year, those words still sent heat through me. The absolute surrender, the trust, the way he always put my desires first. So different from the demanding, controlling alpha he'd been before. I pulled him down for a kiss, taking my time exploring his mouth. Leon responded with careful passion, letting me control the pace like always. His hands stayed respectfully on my hips, not wandering without permission, even though I could feel the tension in his body, the want he held carefully in check. Touch me, I murmured against his lips. Leon, you don't have to wait for permission every time anymore. I trust you. I know. But I like waiting. Like letting you set the pace. His hand slid under my shirt, palms warm against my skin. Knowing you're in control, that you want this as much as I do, it's everything to me. I stripped off my shirt, then helped him out of his pants, both of us moving with the ease of familiarity. We'd made love countless times over the past year, relearning each other, discovering what we could be together when respect and desire intertwined. Leon guided me backward to the bed, his eyes dark with hunger but still patient. Always patient now. We lay down together, skin against skin, and I sighed at the contact, the mate bond singing with satisfaction at our closeness. I love you, Leon whispered, kissing along my jaw, down my throat. Love you so much it terrifies me sometimes. The thought of ever losing this again. You won't. I tangled my fingers in his hair. We're different now. Stronger. We won't make the same mistakes. No, he agreed, lips trailing lower across my collarbone down my chest. We'll probably make new ones. But we'll face them together. Communicate. Trust each other. His mouth found sensitive spots he'd memorized over the past year, drawing gasps and shivers from me. I arched into his touch, shameless in my desire. With Leon, I'd learned I didn't have to hide or hold back. Could be completely myself, completely vulnerable, and know he'd cherish rather than exploit it. Leon, I breathed as his hand wrapped around me, stroking with perfect pressure. Need you. Please. Patience, love. His voice was rough with his own need. Let me make this good for you. Let me take care of you. He kissed his way down my body, lips and tongue and gentle teeth creating sensations that had me writhing. When he took me in his mouth, I cried out, hips lifting involuntarily. Leon's hands pressed me back down, firm but not restraining, grounding me as pleasure built. So beautiful like this, he murmured between kisses and licks. So perfect. My gorgeous Omega. My mate. My everything. The praise, freely given without expectation of return, made me feel cherished in ways I'd never experienced before our separation. This was what love should be, mutual worship, giving and receiving in equal measure. When I was trembling on the edge, Leon stopped, moving back up my body to kiss me deeply. I could taste myself on his tongue, could feel his obvious arousal pressed against me. Inside, I demanded breathlessly. Leon, I need you inside me. Now. Yes. He reached for supplies, preparing me with careful thoroughness even though we'd done this just yesterday. Always attentive, always making sure I was comfortable. Tell me if anything doesn't feel right. If you need me to stop or slow down. I will. I promise. But right now, I need you to stop being quite so careful and just take me. Something heated flared in his eyes, primal alpha need rising, but even then he maintained control. You sure? I don't want to. Leon. I pulled him down, wrapping my legs around his waist. I trust you completely. Let go a little. Show me how much you want me. Permission given, Leon's careful restraint cracked. He entered me in one smooth thrust, both of us groaning at the connection. The mate bond flared brilliant and golden, recognizing our union, celebrating it. God, Mincio, Leon gasped, forehead pressed to mine. You feel incredible. Perfect. Like you were made for me. Was made for you, I agreed, moving my hips in invitation. We were made for each other. Now move. Show me. Leon set a rhythm that was neither gentle nor rough but perfectly balanced, passionate without being overwhelming. His hips rolled in ways that hit every sensitive spot inside me, drawing continuous sounds of pleasure from my throat. But even lost in sensation, he stayed present, watching my face, adjusting based on my reactions. Harder, I gasped, nails digging into his shoulders. Leon, please, harder. He obliged, increasing force and speed while one hand slipped between us to stroke me in time with his thrusts. The dual stimulation was overwhelming, pleasure building impossibly high. That's it, love, Leon encouraged, voice strained. Let go. Come for me. Want to feel you, want to watch you fall apart. Close, I managed. So close, Leon, don't stop, please don't. Never stopping. Never leaving you. Love you, Mincio, love you so much. I shattered, orgasm crashing through me with an intensity that whited out my vision. I heard myself cry Leon's name, felt my body clench around him. Leon followed moments later with a guttural groan, hips stuttering as he spilled inside me. We collapsed together, both trembling and breathless. Leon carefully withdrew, immediately pulling me close, pressing kisses to my sweaty forehead. "Okay?" he asked softly. "That wasn't too much? I didn't lose control in a bad way?" "It was perfect." I traced patterns on his chest, feeling his heartbeat gradually slow. "You were perfect. The right balance of passionate and controlled." "Good." He let out a shaky breath. "I always worry I'll slip back into old patterns. Take too much, push too hard." "You don't. You never do anymore." I tilted my head up to kiss him. "Leon, you need to forgive yourself eventually. Stop waiting for yourself to fail." "Maybe." His arms tightened around me. "But I'd rather be overcautious than ever hurt you again." We lay tangled together, basking in afterglow, until Leon finally stirred to grab a cloth and clean us both gently. Then we settled back into bed properly, Leon's body curving around mine from behind, his arm draped possessively, but not restrictively, across my waist. "Best birthday party ever?" he murmured sleepily against my neck. "It was the twins' birthday, not yours. Any day I get to spend with all three of you is my birthday." He nuzzled into my hair. "Thank you, Mincio. For this. For us. For believing I could change. You did change. You worked harder than anyone I've ever known to become better." I laced my fingers with his. "I'm proud of you. Proud of us. I'm proud of us too." His voice was getting drowsy. "Love you. Always will." "Love you always," I echoed. Within minutes, his breathing evened into sleep. I stayed awake a bit longer, listening to the quiet house, feeling Leon's warmth against my back, thinking about how far we'd come. From broken and toxic to healthy and whole. From possession masquerading as love to actual partnership built on respect. From running and hiding to standing together and facing the world. We'd survived the worst and found our way back to each other, better versions of ourselves ready to build a future worth having. And as sleep finally claimed me, wrapped in Leon's arms in our home with our son sleeping down the hall, I felt nothing but gratitude. For second chances. For growth and healing. For love that had died and been reborn stronger. For family. For home. For everything we'd become together.